And check it out. Now, Music 101, niggas. Okay, now I love videos like this. We could get to the jokes all day. But a little bit of education will last you guys if you're a prospective artist, or even if you're fans that just love music and you want to understand shit better, it will last you way longer than a few jokes. Now, check this out. In music, there's something called splits. Whether you're releasing via TuneCore or some DistroKid or some like independent distribution company, or you submitted your record to Atlantic Records, there's something called splits. Now, what is splits? Splits is going to tell you what the fuck, who owns of the record, or how it should be paid out when a dollar comes in. Now, usually, when a dollar comes in, when it comes to the profits, the royalties off of the record after everything has been recouped, you get a percentage that's a share between the producer and the artist. Usually, the producer owns 50%, the artist owns 50%. That's 100%. Now, it gets a lot more complicated because, of course, you could have a feature. Now, the feature gets a cut out of the artist like percentage, and a lot of shit like that happens. But even on the producer side, that gets complicated too. Did the producer produce it by himself? Did he use a sample? And sometimes, if the sample is worth it, everybody has to take a loss to accommodate the person who owns the sample. Now, for example, let's talk about Juice Wrld, Lucid Dreams. Now, we would think, yo, Juice Wrld getting $1 billion, gazillion dollars because that song has been stuck on the Billboard charts and is doing great. Now, if you go by what I just said, we would think that the producer of the record owns 50%, Juice Wrld owns 50%, but that's not quite the case. It's not quite the case because the beat was actually interpolated with another song that's very popular, and that's the reason why people use sample if you don't know, because a sample song will give the listener familiarity. It's easier to make a hit. That's why in the early 2000s, everybody used samples. Yes, you had to pay more and you made less from the record. If you use a sample of, I don't know, All About the Benjamins or whatever, it makes you like the song even more. Think about even Wayne's new song, The Uproar Challenge or whatever. That's basically G-Dep's special delivery. And because you know the fucking beat, you already kind of like it before you even get to the fucking lyrics. So people use samples. Now, with that leverage, the sample holder has to clear a sample. Now, the price of clearing a sample could be anything. Okay, I've heard people pay $500,000 to clear a sample and then still not own any percent of the record. Basically, I'm trying to say, when you're trying to clear a record, it's up to the sample. And that's why you see most of these producers don't use samples now. So here's the thing, and here's the tricky part about this whole thing with Juice Wrld and Sting. Because Juice Wrld Lucid Dreams interpolated Sting Shape of My Heart. However, interpolation is different than just sampling. And I gotta explain the difference. And I know I'm going all over the place. Sampling, right? You took that master audio that's owned by somebody else and put it in your shit, and you now created some new shit. Now, if you took my ingredient and put it in your fucking pot, nigga, I own kind of what your pot is gonna end up being. So I get to dictate, and you gotta clear it with me before you put it up on iTunes and start making the money from it. You gotta clear with me what I'm okay with getting. Now, there's something called interpolation. Kanye used to do it a lot. When you like a record, but you know it's gonna be too hard to clear, you get somebody to replay the keys. So you basically remake the record without using the record. And that's exactly what Juice Wrld did for Lucid Dreams. He had somebody remake that melody and used it for his beat. Except there are still copyright laws that says it's cool to a certain extent when you're doing interpolation, but you can't just rip a nigga off completely just because you're making the beat over again. So in that case, and when people, and like yo, Sting is such a fucking huge musical catalog. I mean, the publishing company that reps them, they probably deal with this all the time. They already probably hit up the record company for Juice Wrld to say, bro, this is not going to go down. You guys could put it out, but you're going to have to adhere to these terms. And by the way, here's another thing with sampling too. The record's usually out and people are loving it when the person who owns some shit in it comes knocking. So you can't pull back the record and take it out. It's already out there. You can't pull back the record and try to change it. People already love it. So by that time, all the leverage, and it's all about leverage, all the motherfucking leverage goes and exists with the sample holder. So the person who has the rights to whether that melody or the actual sample, they're going to come to you and say, Give me this percentage or take my shit off your fucking shelf. Now, a lot of times you could go to an arbitrator because an arbitrator could say, yo, you want 100% and he used like 0.2 seconds of your record. We're not going to say that's fair. So in court, you're not going to win that case. So they're clear to use it. So you don't want it to really get to court or get to an arbitrator. You kind of want to come to a mutually agreeable place, okay? And sometimes even the arbitrator is involved in that. Now, we get to find out, and I'm sorry I'm so long-winded, but I love to give these tidbits because these is what really make up the music business. Seriously. Now, we get to find out Juice WRLD Lucid Dreams is owned 85% by Sting. Now, the producer of the record went on Twitter to rant and said, fuck Sting and his old team after taking 85% of Lucid Dreams for interpolating Shape of My Heart, not even sampling. He threatened to take us to court for trying to take any percentage. Sting also flexed stealing our money and said it put his grandkids through college. Now, I gotta get at that producer real quick. It's not your money. It's his motherfucking record and sample. The Shape of My Heart is a very legendary sample. The reason why they're taking 85% is that so many other people have copied that exact same thing, and that record is so fucking successful. It's crazy that you as a producer would accuse a nigga of stealing from you when you literally stole from him. Nigga, that's stealing. And again, it's acceptable stealing when you pay the person. So it's not stealing that. But you took his fucking melody, and now because he wants his money, you're saying he's stealing from you? No, he's not. He's not stealing from you. You stole from him. He just wants to get paid. Okay? Now, the 85% might be a lot, but nigga, that's business. Don't use a fucking sample. You shouldn't use a sample if you don't want to get down in the sample nitty gritty. Yes, if you use Sting, if you use Prince, if you actually the estate of Prince might just say no. No, we don't need your money. Right? Michael Jackson, you think, I could tell you this. I'll tell you this. As big as Drake is, guaranteed Drake doesn't own even 40% of that record he has on his album with Michael Jackson. Guaranteed. I'd be surprised if he owns over 10. Michael Jackson doesn't need Drake. Michael Jackson, and when records have lived and stood the test of time, and by the way, that's an old Michael Jackson record, they don't need these new niggas. Niggas sample it all the time. You know who else has sampled Shape of My Heart? I'll read down a list. Russ sampled it recently. Okay? Juice WRLD sampled it recently. Tory Lanez sampled it like last year. Okay? You had Pastor Troy. You had Lil Zane. You had Nas, who did it in 96. Monica. There's so many people. Carl Thomas, Lil Zane, Sugar Babe. Listen, there's so many people who sampled this one record. They don't need Juice WRLD. So yes, you need that record more than me, Juice WRLD. That's your number one hit. I've been a legend. Give me 85% of the money. You go on tour, nigga. That's how it works. Might seem like it's unfair. It's not unfair to me. That's how sampling motherfucking works. It works like that. Same with Marvin Gaye with Blurred Lines when it came to Robin Thicke and like T.I. and them. What? You're using our little thing to get popping. No way. We want to tell you the percentage. And in that case, it was like, I believe 40-60 was the split. 85-15 might seem unreasonable until you realize how iconic Shape of My Heart is. Shape of My Heart is very iconic. So I don't know how you think you're getting stolen from. Okay? Juice WRLD responded and said, lost millions, made millions. The song impacted to many people in a good way for me to be upset over it. There's always more money to be made, and I will make it up. So love. That's how you should think, nigga. The fuck? The fuck is your producer who probably that was his big check over here complaining? Nigga, shut up. Shut up. Nigga, shut the fuck up. I gotta be honest with you. You copy the nigga beat, the melody. The melody is what drives the song. The melody drove the song. It's not because you're the melody did it. You had some trap drums over a dope melody that's been historic. Yes, now the nigga who says you're using my hot melody to fucking create your new hit. I want 85%. Don't complain. Don't say they're stealing from you. You stole from them. What's the problem? What's the problem? It's business. It's fucking business. I know we love that song. I love that song. Love Juice WRLD. But it's really using another nigga's song to make your hit. How could you be mad? You guys can comment box, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Listen, it's a lesson of business 101. It's now, that's why you see now, right? People are gravitating away from samples. Because when you use samples, your album could get delayed because niggas is going through negotiations, trying to figure out who gets and whatever. Labels don't like to pay out in a lot of cases because a lot of y'all niggas' albums ain't lasting or doing a lot. right? And then you get to realize when you produce all the sounds and you produce all the melodies in your own shit, it's way more profitable if it's a hit. I ain't blaming Sting. I just think this producer was wild and that's why he deleted it. Okay? Don't get your fans or don't tell Juice WRLD fans to go bully Sting when y'all stole his shit to use it for your first hit and now you're mad that he wants to get paid the majority of the money. No, nigga. Get in the comment box, make sure you guys like them, subscribe to Akademiks. Again, I keep asking y'all this question because as I progress, I want to know if y'all like more in-depth videos where I'm breaking down shit like this. Like, I love talking about sampling and interpolation and when it comes to clearing records and splits, and that's amazing to me. That's how I think. And I came from just being like, y'all just being really interested in like a couple of artists. But now, like, I love hip-hop so much, I want to know everything about it, the ins and outs. We could always get to the jokes, all right? I just want you guys to let me know what type of videos you guys prefer. Get in the comments, your boy Akademiks.